Hey, deserved listeners, Darcey and Stacey, let's watch.
Like what?
I don't know, just like, if you're feeling anything about us, I just don't want that around them. I just want everybody to be happy and open, you know? I haven't always had those moments when I had someone in my life, especially that time with Jesse when he came.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was thinking the same thing, and then she named it, which I'm glad that she's aware of it for sure. They are making some sort of meat dish, and the daughters are coming over, and they're starting to conflict about how to prepare the meal, and they are starting to bicker, and there's a knife involved, and maybe some thoughts of cutting on the bias, as the meme goes. And they're interestingly bickering in a way that we haven't seen before. They're talking about bickering in other situations. You know, she's saying, I don't want this to be like other times. So that lends itself to, of course, their relationship is much bigger than what we're seeing on the screen. And they're saying, you're always nasty and rude to me, and Georgie is being a little, I don't know, short with her, shall we say. And I wonder if Georgie shows a different side of himself in front of the cameras that we're now seeing a little bit of a glimpse of. I don't know.
The way he's treating me right now reminds me of the way Jesse treated me, especially the one disastrous night with my daughters. You gotta cut it on a bias, babe. It saves the juice. I've worked in restaurants, so okay.
I'm done.
Jesse just walked out.
Babe, dinner's ready, so it's all good.
No, it's not all good.
I will say that it is kind of annoying when you're trying to do something and someone is over your shoulder micromanaging you. It is extremely annoying. If you've ever been the recipient of micromanaging, you know, it's sort of like a backseat driver or a backseat cut on the bias or something. Even if you're right, or even if you're wrong, you know, even if cutting on the bias is the way to do it, I don't know, there's a balance there. There's a line that you shouldn't cross with people. It doesn't justify Jesse's meltdown. I mean, he had a meltdown. Georgie, on the other hand, is being, I don't think Georgie's being micromanaged. They're just having a little bit of a disagreement. Anyway, so what do I say about this? I say that for Darcey to micromanage her partners isn't great, but it's not terrible, and it's common that people will do that, particularly if you have a preference. And where's the line between asserting yourself and micromanaging? You know, it's in the eye of the beholder, kind of, or trying to help out and micromanaging. And by micromanaging, I mean, you know, managing micro behaviors of like, don't put it there. You're not gonna, you know, it gives the recipient this notion that someone thinks you're incompetent, that they are watching you all the time. They're going to catch you if you make any kind of mistake, and you're sort of screwed if you do anything wrong. Anyway, and that can be very annoying. And it also, again, gives this message that you're incompetent, and one of the only responses to that is to give up and walk away and say, okay, you do it. And of course, that's not usually what we're looking for. But anyway, maybe they'll show us the old clip of Jesse having a meltdown.
You ruin everything.
Jesse, my children are here.
And I was
Guys.
very much bonding with the
Can we
girls.
just go eat dinner? Yeah, let's go. Come on, Aspen.
It's interesting to see that scene again. I thought he had a bigger meltdown. I don't know if they showed us all of that scene, but even what we saw, there was clearly, I think, an overreaction. He could have said something like, hey, you're micromanaging, or hey, you know, I'm trying to hold together for the girls right now, and could you please just let me do this? Or you're probably right about cutting on the bias, but could I just do it my way? Is that okay? Or just do what she says. Okay, I'll do it your way. There's a lot of different responses other than like creating a scene and walking out. And I'm reminded of Jesse's personality, and you know, who knows, but he seemed extremely reactive to any kind of criticism that Darcey, or any kind of request that she made of him. He seemed very sure of himself. He was quick to hostility. I remember when she came home drunk that one time, like he really laid into her and was just very forceful about her quitting drinking. And if I remember right, my reaction back then, I think it was like over a year ago when I watched that there's nothing wrong with wanting a partner to quit drinking or to cut back on substances. It's a common feeling that one might have. But how do you communicate it in a way that isn't paternalistic, that is respectful of the other person, is a conversation of, here's how your drinking impacts me, and kind of just leave it at that. And then the other person can make choices for themselves and come to conclusions for themselves. It's a nuanced thing, but I'm trying to remember. Anyway, let's not go down to Jesse rabbit hole. Let's watch this.
Talking about, I was saying an experience because you're very closed off right now and I don't know why. And I don't want that energy around my kids.
Look like you miss him.
No, I don't miss him. Why are you saying things that I'm not even thinking or feeling? Don't sit there and make it like, I'm saying something wrong. I'm concerned for my kids, and I don't want them to be around a toxic relationship.
It's interesting to see Georgie in this state where he is being passive about his hurt. I think he's hurt that Jesse was brought up, and instead of just saying that directly, he is being passive and using this other, saying, well, you should, instead of saying, hey, that hurts to be compared to Jesse, he says you should be with him and you should, marry him instead.
The energy in the kitchen and stop making slide comments or remarks about me and the way I'm making the meatballs on a stick and call me boss. And that's very nasty. It's very nasty. Are you trying to trigger me so my energy's off when my daughters come? No. I mean, at this point, I don't know what to expect anymore. And it's just like, I'm scared to have that around my kids.
Yeah, the kinds of things they're talking about are pretty common in relationships. There's a tension in the air. The girls are coming over. There's a trauma that Darcey has about this, and I'm guessing also Georgie is resentful or at least still hurt about the events of the most recent weeks of being accused and of things that he didn't do. And so, how do you communicate with each other in a situation like this? There's been some hurtful things said, and each person can be more differentiated and more healthy. Georgie could say something like, okay, well, to be honest, I'm a little tense because your daughters are coming over, and I'm kind of shy, and I get a little nervous in situations like this. I also, frankly, Darcey, I don't like it when you boss me around. I have ideas of what I like to do in the kitchen, and I feel like you just boss me around instead of making a request. You can certainly say, I would like to do it this way, but you don't usually do it. You just usually tell me what to do, and I don't know, it just kind of hurts me that you don't speak to me like an equal or something. So Georgie could say something like that. Darcey could say, Georgie, I have a lot of traumas about these kinds of events where the daughters, meeting my new boyfriend, my new fiance, are they engaged? Because she gave the ring back anyway. And when you're quiet and nasty, it hurts my feelings. And I get real worried about our relationship. I get worried about what my daughters are going to see. I'm very protective of them. I love you and I trust you, but I don't know, it just seems like there's something off in our relationship right now. That's a more healthy way of talking.
Because we don't deserve that.
Tired of everything being an issue or a potential argument. You're just trying to find ways to provoke me and trigger, and I'm not okay with that.
So if that's true, then yes, that is awful, but that's not usually what's happening. I don't know, maybe Georgie is purposely trying to trigger her, but usually what's happening is there's hurt going back and forth, and people are reacting to that hurt in unhealthy ways. It's interesting, though, that if it was just normal bickering and normal hurt, that Darcey would narrativize the situation as nefarious, which is evil. For someone to have an agenda of, I'm going to trigger my fiance so that she'll have a meltdown in front of her kids. I mean, that's truly evil, and it's consistent with her narrative and her worries and her feelings. And again, differentiation, we talk about this a lot. It's a Murray Bowen idea from 70 years ago-ish, 50 to 70 years ago. And it involves a lot of different things. So listen to my deep dive on Bowenian theory. But in a nutshell, there's a ability. We all have two guidance systems, is the metaphor. One is the reasoning, the intellectual, the thinking side. You can think of it as our prefrontal cortex, and our feeling, our emotions, our instincts, and our knee-jerk reactions to things. Both are valuable. The ability to think is important, of course, the ability to evaluate, and the ability to feel love from someone, or to have love from someone, or to feel a little wary of someone, or to feel love and to express that love and to have that love received and also reciprocated. You're not usually in your frontal cortex when you're doing that. You're just feeling it. You're hugging, you're happy, you're emotional. And we need both guidance systems, and both are important. But we need to be able to differentiate between the two of them. And for Darcey, I think she feels a threat, and the feeling side of her is thinking, he's doing this on purpose. Now, the thinking side should, if I'm reading the situation right, chime in and say, well, it's possible that he's not doing it on purpose. It's possible that he's hurt or confused, or he's reactive or in a bad mood or something, but he doesn't have an agenda to get me. And so I have to counteract my feelings with my thinking and say, I'm not really quite sure. Then the feeling side can say, well, I still feel threatened. I feel worried. I feel hurt. And then the thinking side can say, well, yeah, that scans given the situation, but going that far, that doesn't make a lot of sense. Well, with fused individuals or undifferentiated individuals, is they can't differentiate between their reasoning and their feelings, and they often, the result often is their feelings become reality. It feels as though he's out to get me, and he is out to get me.
Rosie, Rosie.
So you want to set your phone up to share your location? Because I already set mine up, my location.
Okay, interesting. So she's about to go on a trip, and she has expressed that she's worried that he's going to cheat on her. And as a solution to that, she is asking that they share each other's location, and as a way of being able to keep track of each other. So it's not inherently unhealthy to do this. There are couples that will do this for reasons of infidelity worries. And if it's not a big deal to the Florians of the world, then it can really put someone's mind at ease. On the other hand, Florian could say, I don't like that idea. I don't want to think that you're watching me wherever I'm going. Also, I don't want these apps knowing where I'm going all the time. Who knows? But so, both takes on this, I think, are fine. It's just how you communicate to each other about it. I would hope that Stacey could say something like, look, Florian, I trust you, but there's this worry that I have, and it's based on the fact that you went to bed with that one woman last year, and I'm pretty sure you're not going to do anything, but you could really help me out by agreeing to do this location sharing thing, and then I wouldn't be so worried. If you don't want to, that's fine. It's kind of an invasion of privacy, but it would really help me out. So, that's one way you can ask. But they don't usually talk that way. It's usually you're going to share, you're going to do location sharing, right? And then he's like, and then she's about to say, like, how come? Instead of speaking from your primary emotion place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you share the location?
Yes.
Let me see.
Look, I can do it just to make Stacey happy. My life is about Stacey, to be honest with you.
Yeah, she doesn't trust you because you violated that trust. So that doesn't give Stacey full license to control you like you're a child. So I don't know what to think about this. I think it depends on how it's fitting within their overall relationship. But like I said, there's nothing wrong with wanting this sort of, measure to help the Stacys of the world deal with their worries of infidelity. Some people will share each other's phone. Like I'm watching the Love in Paradise 90 Day Fiancé show, and I can't remember their names, Martine and I can't remember the fella, is it Steven? Anyway, there was infidelity in the past, and the woman has the password to his phone and is allowed to look through his phone sometimes. So that's definitely crossing into privacy and could be very bothersome to being on the receiving end of that. But if it helps with infidelity recovery, sometimes we do that. When I work with couples in my office who are recovering from infidelity, sometimes we will talk about those things. I never recommend them per se, but I do allow for them to be discussed. And sometimes as a couple, they'll come to the conclusion that it would help. The Florians of the world are never excited about it, or they're not usually excited about it, but they'll say, well, if giving up a little bit of privacy is going to get a lot of benefit, meaning that Stacey will not worry about me cheating and will be happy and will not attack me because of worries of infidelity, then giving up a little bit of privacy might help. Plus, it might help with building trust. It might help with recovery from infidelity. And I want those sorts of things. So, there's usually a pro and a con that we discuss and we make explicit. And we also give the Florians of the world the option to say no to it. And, we don't want to pressure them into this sort of thing. It looks like he's pressured into it. I would like it if we could ask Florian, do you really want to do this? Would you like to talk about it? Instead, he's just like, oh, okay. Which might actually backfire for Stacey and Florian. I don't know. But given Florian's behavior, I could see this happening where he could passive-aggressively turn it off or turn off his phone or make it so it doesn't work while she is abroad. And then she's like, it's not working, how come? And then she gets all upset and he's like, I don't know what's going on. And he is trying to express his displeasure with being forced to do it by not letting it work or by not monitoring it or something like that. And we don't want to be in a situation like that. So I'm worried that if Florian isn't given a chance to voice himself, that passive aggression might follow. All right, well, that does it for that episode of Psychology in Seattle. Everyone out there, please take care of yourself because you deserve it. You really, really do.